And we are live. Hey, everybody, you're watching and listening to the We Are Rising podcast. This is your host, Andrew Benjamin, joined by my very special guest today, Mike from Ohio. How you doing, Mr. Mike?
I'm doing well, Andrew. What's going on?
Nothing much, nothing much. Just been an exhausting week of combat sports. As you know, PFL sold out Riyadh, not New Japan, but Rizin had their show. UFC had a show apparently. I didn't even know that until people in the Discord were talking about it.
Boxing. The boxing is all the 3 world title fights, which was very good, by the way.
Okay, there was a boxing fight. Didn't LFA have a show? Oh, KSW had a show. That was it. KSW had a show as well.
With Mamed Khalidov, I think, was headlining it, if I remember right.
Oh, I thought Josh Barnett and Phil DeFries was having the. I thought that was the main event.
I haven't followed KSW in forever, but I'll take your word for it.
Okay. But yeah, even though all that stuff happened, we're only here to talk about Rizin tonight. And Mike, before we get into the card, I should have made a banner for it, but I'm gonna make it right now. Overall thoughts on their first show of 2024.
I thought overall it was a really good card. There were a couple of boring fights, like the Yuki Ito Ueda fight that was pretty boring. I blame more Ueda for that than Ito. It seemed like Ueda was trying to survive by the second round, and a couple of the prelims were what you would expect for prelims. Yeah, but overall, I thought it was a really fun card. I thought Shohei Nose looked like a star. I thought that Jorge Gustavo was awesome. Imanari coming back from getting hurt to beat Majima with the armbar. I know you were thrilled about that.
Mm-hmm.
And then Saori Oshima getting that armbar the way she did, getting reversed and then just going straight to armbar after that reversal on Claire Lopez. That was pretty good. Yeah, overall. And then the opening kickboxing fight with the knockout, that was awesome.
So I know you told me that you watched it live.
Yes, I did.
So what was your experience with with their first time using Rizin.tv?
There were several buffering issues. I think probably at least 4 or 5 times I had issues with them with the feed live. It seemed like the sound was okay on my end, but I do know that there were people who were saying that the sound was really bad, like up and down at various points. You mentioned to me before we came on air that the sound mixing was off. Is that correct?
When it first started, it was. So I watched the first everything they had on YouTube, and then I didn't watch it live because I had to do things in the morning. So what was it? After the Ito fights, that was, oh my god, I got it right here. Why am I even?
Or Nose and
yeah, Nose. So I watched everything on Rizin.tv after that. That going on, and it was out. I didn't watch the Ito fight, but I heard, but up until it was out of sync. Then what happened also was that Compton and Damian Brown, who were on commentary, their first were too soft.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't remember when it changed because I was kind of just like tuning out the commentary. It got louder. They were like they're way above everything else. Where like they were kind of talking like this where you can't hear anything else. Yeah, so the audio was all over the place. Video quality. You know what it reminded me of as well? It was streamed at 720p. I don't have a problem with that. But so do you remember in the okay? When movies used to do like these big battle scenes, like in the 2000s, and they would like do like that like wavy kind of camera, and that's what they kind of looked like. That's what it reminded me of was the frame rate of the frame rate, which I mean. I want a little bit better. That's all I'll just say. It's just I just want some nice crisp quality. That's all.
I agree, and I'm not surprised considering they rushed that streaming service. It doesn't surprise me. I'm willing to give them a pass on this one because it was rushed regardless of the reasons. But next time for Rizin Landmark 9 and Kobe, I absolutely expect a much better experience live. I'll say that.
I hope so too. But we can hope. I don't think that this is likely going to happen. Unfortunately,
See,
that just 2024. We're still doing Zoom commentary. It's actually it's been 4 full years because they did it the first one with Matt Stryker for that for the show right before the pandemic.
yeah, Rizin 21 Hamamatsu, and they've been doing it ever
Yeah.
since. Guess they just don't want to pay the commentators to go out to Japan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. I know it sucks.
It does. No,
And
I
I
mean,
go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, I mean, for the moment, you just gotta deal with it. But it's like you said before we got on air, it's harder. It's going to give Rizin potentially a bad rap with English with international fans if the stream is not of sufficient quality. And yesterday's effort is not going to cut it in the long term.
So actually, you didn't even remind me. So I know that the Rise in TV had a chat. Do you know how many people were in that chat? By the way, if you don't mind me
I
asking.
I muted it. I don't pay
Okay.
attention to that stuff.
Okay. I would for the next show. I don't know if I'll watch it live, but I definitely would like to see how many people are in the chat. I will say though, I do like the fact that you can just sign up with your email. That makes it so much easier. I hate passwords. I hate having to think of a new password. And also, they accept Google Pay. I know that some people in Discord were like, "Why don't they accept PayPal?" They accept Google Pay. I'm fucking happy. That is all. I'm so happy about that. But
Yeah, and that's how I did it, and I thought it was pretty easy.
yeah, I'll say that the UI is very good. The UI is easy to find the fight. When you buy it, they just send you the email, and then you can just click the watch now thing. Your email takes you right there. So it's very it's. Remember, it's kind of like almost the opposite of Rise Live. Rise Live is very complicated
It can't
to move around.
figure it out, but Ryzen Live to me is just perfect. I wish they would just have Ryzen Live with a English option. That would have been nice.
I would like it with a Japanese option. I really would. I really would. But my guess is so obviously they have. I'm guessing that they have two separate channels that they feed the video through. Because if you see, the English one has the English graphics, which are obviously not the Japanese one, and the Japanese one has the Japanese graphics. So I am just hypothesizing that they're through two separate channels. Obviously, I think that the Ryzen Live Japanese stream, whatever, is getting higher bit rate, higher codec, more bandwidth, and all that. And then this Sprinty or whatever that they're using for it, I don't know if it's Sprinty or if it's through Ryzen, maybe both. Yeah, it's getting lesser bandwidth to use for outputting the stream. That's. I'm not a tech person, but I know basic stuff, and that's what I'm guessing.
Right, and ultimately, Ryzen has to fix that. I mean, that to me in 2024, that's what we should expect.
I don't know, boy. Do they have to fix it, or do they want to fix it? I mean,
I don't know.
or they just have.
If they would behoove them to for more for a better experience for international viewers, whether that's a priority, I can't say.
Yeah, I mean if that's what they care. If I don't know. So this is a problem. This is what I have with Japanese companies. Japanese companies kind of have this thing where like they want to see the money first, and then they'll start doing the spending. And then like what was it? Remember when what was it? New Japan World. Remember New Japan World? Remember they used to do that thing where they would just have like the single camera setup, the hard camera setup for like some shows.
I've seen it before, like the house shows, like not the
Yeah,
big
so
shows.
like the house shows. They would just do like a single camera setup, and there would be no camera cuts, no nothing, and it would be just that.
Like the old RF videos back in the day.
Yes. RF videos. A great gentleman that man was. Just kidding. Yeah. So yeah, and then like they finally changed it. Like I think they changed it like many years later after the fact when they that's. I hope it's not too little too late. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Ryzen's gonna also. We also have to keep in mind that with Japan in a recession right now,
Yes.
and the yen devalued, they're gonna focus on their core business.
Yes,
I
as they should. As they should.
I understand that, but this is an alternative revenue stream. I
Yep.
would spend the money to maximize that for the long
Yeah.
term.
Are you gonna subscribe when they bring out the subscription service next month?
I don't know. I'd have to see what else they have because $20 a month is pretty steep.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm hoping that was for the the show like singly.
Mhm.
Oh, that's the other thing as well. You get the streams the shows are available for 14 days. I don't like that. I think everything once you buy a show, you should own it forever. That is my personal. I don't like this. It's only available for a certain amount of days.
I agree with you on that one, but I'm assuming they're going to archive it, so that might be why.
Yeah. Well, if they archive it, will they have the prelims? I don't know if they're going to because they didn't stream them for the Rizin Live. So
And stream them on Rizin Live.
No, the prelims were not available on Rizin Live. I rewatched the show. The show started with the K1 versus Rise fights.
Are you talking about Rizin.tv or Rizin Live?
Oh, sorry, Rizin TV. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Because I thought the last time that I bought a show on Rizin Live, they showed the prelims as well.
Yeah, no, you're correct. No, you're right. They did. I meant to say Rizin TV. So I don't know if, when they archive it, are they going to have the prelims? That's the big question.
I don't know, and I think the $20 price tag for these pay-per-views is worth it. But as Falling Star said, if you're on a budget, you got to be more selective. You could definitely. I'm not going to say skip. You could probably skip this one if you don't have the money. I would say if I had to really regulate my money, I would definitely go for Rizin Landmark 9 Kobe. Much better card.
Well, I think the other issue is that when you start charging as a streaming service, you kind of as a customer, you expect quality, but also constant delivery of something. And Rizin still doesn't do monthly shows. They didn't have a show in January, so and I don't know if they plan to start doing monthly shows if they start having the streaming service. I mean, technically they do have a streaming service anyway, the Rizin 100. So they still don't do it. So, but yeah, you kind of are. Well, the streaming service, you kind of are, unless you mitigate it by like doing 2 shows a month or the 2 shows, like that, or like Deep does.
I mean, but that's a lot of content for them. And do they have the roster to pull that off, though?
Oh, I'm sure. Listen, there you can find some people, some undercard guys to do stuff like that. I'm sure they can find if they did it. They did it last year with the 46 and the Nagoya show. So they can
and Sapporo as well. There were so many people who debuted on that show.
Yeah. So listen, they may have to scrape the bottom of the barrel, much to our chagrin, to fill those cards, and then the top 5 will be like people that we know. That's probably what they're gonna have.
Right, but you never know who will merge.
That's true. Absolutely. So we're gonna move on. We're gonna start first with the prelims that are not available now anymore. We're just gonna quickly go over the results of that. Satoshi Kawashima beat Kaito Ishiko. Rikito beat Hanya Hashimoto. Reito Bravely. Oh, sorry.
Rikuto versus Hanya Hashimoto. That was a really good fight.
Yes, it was. Yeah. Reito bravely knocked out Kyoei Furumura, excuse me. Taiki Yahiro choked out Yuto Araki, and Ryuhei Sakai on short notice beat Ryoga, the man who came out to Gates' Paradise. Any thoughts on any of the prelims, Mike?
I thought the first one, the Kadashima Ishigo fight was boring, nondescript.
They both got knockdowns, and kind of like and the way it ended is the majority. And I was like, oh god, it's gonna be a draw because they got 2 knockdowns. Because you know how kickboxing, is.
Right. I mean, Katashima, he'll just go back to knockout, which ironically had a show earlier today.
Did you see the low blow? Did you see the low blow
5
highlight?
Low blows.
Oh my god!
I think it was 5. I watched the fight live. I think it was low blows in all.
It wasn't the guy's fault, but it was just like it just kept happening, and it was just I think it was someone in Japanese. I think someone in Japanese tweeted out, and then they said it translated to cock and ball torture, something like that. It was really fun. I felt bad for a guy, but it was just funny. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, and then Reito Bravely, I thought looked really. That was an awesome knockout. The way to I forgot who quoted it, but Furumura went down like he was shot.
Well, the funny. At first, they said some people in the Discord said that it looked like it was early stoppage. Not like if you watch the replay, you see his eyes go back and back in his head. So he was kind of out as he went down. So kind of good on the referee. I mean, yeah, you could when you first see it, you kind of like think that, but no, on replay, it was a KO.
Oh, I got a bone to pick with one of the referees when we get to the Takizawa Nose fight.
Okay. I'm interested to hear.
Yeah, tight. And then Yahiro did what he had to do against Yuto Araki. It was a 6-8. I think they put his record.
That was the other thing. Did you see that the records were all over the place?
Yes, I thought on the Rizin side it was 6-2 for Yahiro, but it ended up being 8. They put it as 8-2.
I was so. Are they? I think that they might be combining their amateur and pros.
They might. I can't say, but there was such a big experience gap, and you could see it because Yahiro didn't have an issue at all. And then the Sakai Ryoga fight was just. It looked like two amateurs.
Listen, I'll say this. I thought that Ryoga was gonna. I thought that Ryoga. Listen, I've warmed up to him, like, because that whole coming out the Gangsta's Paradise, coming out with the bandana and the baggy pants and tattoos. Like, he kind of won me over. He personality wise, he won me over. He really did.
Yeah, but too bad he can't fight as well.
Well, yes, I'll give credit to Sakai. He took the fight on short notice and basically won on short notice. So credit to him. So sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to just say a couple of those fighters like Reito Bravely, Rikito, and Hanya Hashimoto, and Yahiro. I think you bring them back.
Definitely the Bravely people. They are. There's a Bravely also fought on knockout as well. I forgot which one.
Lost by, I believe, split decision.
Oh, Masa? It was Masa?
Masa got beat. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you say split, so I don't know what that means in kickboxing because
I thought he won the fight myself, but that's just me.
The other thing also as well, and I one day I want to, if I ever get a chance to interview him, I want to ask him why Hanya Hashimoto spells his name the way he does. Did you see that? He spells his first name in kanji and he spells his last name in romaji. And I don't know, that was bothering me. My brain was like melting. Like, why do you spell your name this way?
I don't know. It's almost as inexplicable to me as those kickboxers with the heart who use hearts.
Erica Hart.
Yes.
So I know that we you said that Reito Bravely, and who's the other one? I apologize.
Reito and Hashimoto, and I also think Daiki Yahiro are rising worthy.
We're gonna probably see even the losers when they come back to Kyushu, Fukuoka, wherever. They'll probably be back on the card again. Also, here's the thing as well. Does Deep do shows in Fukuoka?
I'm sure they will.
Expect to see a lot of these guys who are MMA fighters back on Deep within like 2 or 3 months, and then the kickboxers fighting for like Rise or more likely Rise and then Knockout. Or hey, you know what? Maybe we can get Bloom, maybe Bloom 2 or Bloom 3, which will restart now that Rise have found a whole bunch of fighters from Fukuoka.
I think Bloom 2. I thought I read it might be in March or April. I can't remember.
Mm-hmm. Oh, actually, wasn't the first fight where Ishigo got a bad cut, but they didn't stop it?
Yes.
Yeah, very odd because they usually stop like cuts that are like that bad.
They do, but they didn't, and credit to them for letting them fight.
Oh yes, yeah. And we'll just build up the kickboxing, and then we'll start from the main event down. So I'm just gonna change the card. So Takumi Terada from K1 beat Tominaga from Rise. This was great. I knew this was gonna be the bet. Like this was gonna deliver. That he could the referee. I think the referee could have stopped it on the second knockdown,
Agreed.
where he just kind of like fell flat on his face.
Yeah, he did. I mean, Tirada looked awesome here. Like he looked like a star.
Yeah, he was absolutely he looked great. I thought that Tominaga was going to take it. I stand absolutely hang my head in shame. But yeah, what do you think that you think I would like to see more kind of like Rise and do kind of more like this a K1 versus Rise type kickboxing. I don't know. Are you into that?
I am essentially a neutral party, like a third party. Like
Yeah.
and you have good matches like this where you have good young fighters fighting each other, or solid veterans, what have you. Not that crap like in Nagoya with Genji Umeno and whoever that Crush
Oh
guy
yeah,
was.
yeah. We don't need that.
Yeah,
Falling Star says PFL getting the dog beating out of them was very funny to hear. Bellator stayed a little longer. Hopefully, a new Rise of Bellator collaboration this year. I still don't think. I think there's going to be no Bellator Rise of collaboration this year. What do you think, Mike?
I mean there might be, but PFL needs to worry less about collaborating with other promotions and trying to actually make a profit.
Hey, listen, Saudis paid them all that money. They sold out that show supposedly. So hey, I hope we hear how that pay per view did. I
Yeah,
hope we hear.
I hope they are. I hope they can get out of the red at some point because having an alternative is really nice.
Absolutely. Also, gotta say, PFL's catering is very good. Unlike Bellator, Bellator's catering was always dog shit. Falling Star also asks, should Rise do pure wrestling matches since they do kickboxing fights? It makes sense for some wrestling to help find talent for future Rise fighters. So actually, funny story about that. The year, last year when was it last year? No, 2 years ago when Inoki died. Yeah, didn't Inoki die 2 years ago or was it 1 year ago? It was 2 years ago.
October of 2022, I believe, is when
Sakaki Bar said that they were working on trying to do a tag team match for the New Year's Eve show as a memorial to him, but obviously didn't work out. My guess is they probably want to get some more famous wrestlers that could not or would not be allowed to do it, and you don't want to use some fucking freelancers from I don't know fucking freedoms for your Inoki memorial tag match. What was it? Who was wasn't I didn't IGF used to do wrestling matches? I think they used to do wrestling matches. Yeah.
Along with fights in kickboxing for for the Inoki Genome Federation at that time, and Inoki Bambaye like 2011 or 2012, 13, 14. I think they did a hybrid of wrestling and MMA. It was okay, but the premise was there. So I mean, I guess you could do that, but how many people would really be interested in it?
I don't think unless it's like some guy who's retiring or an older type fighter who doesn't want to do MMA or something like that. Here's the thing: they don't do grappling matches anymore. Well, actually, that's a lie. They do that. They did that tag team grappling match in the pandemic, but like those one-on-one grappling matches, they don't do anymore. I think the last one was that Sakuraba Frank Sham, yeah, which was awful. And I think that probably killed any sort of interest for them to have any more grappling match. I guess when did that Satoshi? Remember when Satoshi choked out the child? What was that? Was that
it was the Hamamatsu show in 2020?
The show. Oh yes, the show right before the pandemic.
I also will say, I do think that they maybe this might be a stretch. Learned from what not to do from one, paying all these grapplers ridiculous amounts of money when they don't really add anything to the bottom line.
Yeah. Also, here's the other thing as well. There's already grappling promotions in Japan. You have Quintet. There were some others as well, smaller ones, and then Gladiator also has like grappling matches. I think.
Yeah.
Gladiator
or Gladiator with Progress, I think it's called.
And then Deep does them sometimes. Deep Jules does them sometimes. For pure wrestling matches, I don't know. Well, here's the thing. Like when the best time you could have done it, maybe you could have done it with the two Miyu versus Izawa, kind of like as a retirement thing.
Right. But maybe, I guess you could do it if you find like an Olympian or like a really well-regarded amateur wrestler who you want to expose but isn't who
Like
you want to
Ota. Ota.
or
Ota's
no right or even new people who aren't ready for MMA yet, but you want to get their names out there. I guess you could do it that way, but you'd really have to believe in them.
Yeah. So I'm not against it. I'm not for it. I'm happy for them to try it out, but likely it's probably not gonna stick. I don't think. Falling Star. We got my buddy in here, Isha, City Light Project, who is 11-4 predictions. And yes, our preview helped a lot because we know our shit. We do our research, and it's deep diving research into some of the most obscure kickboxers. Sometimes. Anyway, back to just briefly on Terada and Tominaga. Did you say you want to bring it back, or did you want to just bring?
Oh, absolutely. Definitely want to bring Terada back. I'd like to see Tominaga come back once he gets a little like go on a winning streak, gets more experience. But
yeah, I agree.
I was gonna say the one fighter I really want to see back is Jin Mando Coro. Because
yeah, he hasn't been back in a while.
He hasn't. It's been a couple years, but he looked awesome in that Rise tournament in December, and I would like to see him fight. It's probably crazy. What? I was gonna say have him fight Nadaka or someone like that, but I mean,
yeah,
it's an idea. But Nadaka wants to go to one, so
here's the thing, because one will try to find opponents for him. They'll and they do the Muay Thai thing, so they can eat. There's that connection there. So yeah, it's the difficulty of finding like opponents for Nadaka until he goes up to 115, 120. He's and also the other thing is that he's so above everyone else now that like at this point maybe it's just better for him to go up at this point, in my opinion.
Yeah, it probably is, but yeah, there's a lot of good young kickboxers in Japan that Rizin can bring in for shows here and there, I think.
Absolutely. WMMA scene, great YouTube channel. Subscribe to him. Also subscribe to City Life Project's YouTube channel as well. I didn't see your video yet on the Oshima Lopez thing, but I'll watch it after. Chuck, is your name Chuck? I think right. WMMA scene now. Because I think I thought I heard your name as Chuck when you introduced the video, but I could be wrong. But yes, Terada, bring him back. Tominaga, get a few more wins, and then we'll talk. Now we can start from top down, if I can find my thing. Yes, Luis Gustavo pummels Poirier to a decision win. I'm going to say this right now. I think Gustavo is maybe the most underrated lightweight in the world right now. I say that with no irony and total seriousness.
I thought he won the fight too. First off, it was a really good fight. It was back and forth. I thought Poirier held his own. I thought he proved he was legit. I just thought the two knockdowns were the difference.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Poirier also broke his right hand, I think, in the third, he said.
Okay. I thought about striking Gustavo at various points, actually.
Well, I think, what was it? The last round, you saw that. Well, first I thought that Poirier got cut, but apparently it was Gustavo who got cut, like right here, and was bleeding profusely. I don't know when that happened, how that happened exactly.
It was like 2 or 3 minutes left in the fight. I do remember seeing that. I thought Poirier won the second round. I thought he was actually making Gustavo miss at various points. I thought he was looking pretty good, but Gustavo caught him with the right hand in the first. I think I forgot what the punch that knocked him down in the third, and then Gustavo just took it home. But yeah, I thought Gustavo and Poirier put on a hell of a show, and I think both of them are contenders at lightweight.
Gustavo. What I love about him, there's no feeling out of him. There's none like it is on at the second the bell rings, and
he's in very good condition too.
Sorry, what was that?
He's in really good physical condition too because
that too as well. Yeah, he just throws a violent intent, and it can be a knockout at a moment or a knockdown like we saw. I think obviously after the fight, he called out Satoshi. Um, I think you do that. Well, you got Satoshi versus Keitaro next.
Yeah,
Assuming Satoshi wins,
which that's no guarantee. That's no cakewalk.
yeah, I know. It's unfortunately, yeah. So, but let's assume that Satoshi wins and is not injured by if they do Super Ryzen in summer.
Mm-hmm.
I would say I think they will both be healed up by then. I hope Gustavo is, but yeah, I think that's the time to do the title shot between the two.
Agreed. I agree 100%, and I would favor Gustavo in that because Satoshi's takedowns are not the best.
They're not the best, but here's the thing: Gustavo does not have. Well, if you from the Takeda fight, he got taken down a number of times, and that's also how Mikuru beat him as well.
Right.
So,
and how I will say, to be fair, how long ago the fight with Mikuru was almost 5 years ago.
Oh yeah,
and then
I think Gustavo beats Mikuru now. I think if they rematch now, Gustavo knocks him out.
Agreed, because Mikuru is not the same fighter he was. I mean, that's.
And I even say that his two losses were against him and Pitbull. I think he knocks out Pitbull if they rematch now. That's the other thing I want to bring up as well. So Pitbull, I don't know which Pitbull this is because I get the two confused all the time.
It's the lightweight.
Let's go with that. That Pitbull.
No, it's Patricky. I think it's Patricky.
We don't even know that whichever one was the one that beat Gustavo and Satoshi said that he should be the one who fights Satoshi next. I don't know if you agree with that or if you have any thoughts on that.
I mean, if they can get him into the country, if they can get him on loan from PFL, then I guess why not? But I think Gustavo should get the next title shot because it'll draw, and he deserves it.
Yeah, listen, I think Gustavo deserves it more, in my opinion.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah,
but like when was the Koji Takeda fight? Was what, several years ago? I believe it was.
No, that was last year. Oh, wait, that was last year, I believe.
Was it?
I think it was in summer. Well, I'm stupid. I can just check right now because we're right on Tapology. That was 2023. Yeah, April. So almost a year ago.
Okay, so gotcha. But he still won the fight.
Yeah, it was a very close fight, though. Depending on how you were to judge it, I can see the argument for Takeda, but I also remember saying like I think that Gustavo won this based on damage. So yes.
yeah. But overall, I think both guys did really well, and
But now, Mike, question: Poirier, who do you think should be his next fight?
Well, he's a legit contender, so you want to put him in with someone like that. How about Juri Ohara?
Oh, that's an interesting fight. I think Juri Ohara, though. Let's see, he's on a 2-fight losing streak, if I'm correct, because he lost his 2 fights in Black Combat.
Yeah.
Sorry, my bad. No, he won. He lost the last one, and then he won the one before that. And then he got, the last 3 fights he had were all Black Combat fights. So,
yeah. I mean, why not have him fight Poirier? I think that would make sense. Coming off losses, I think that makes sense.
Okay, I'm not opposed to that. Is he still? No, he's not the lightweight champion because he lost it in this fight right here. So okay, I'm not opposed to Juri coming back. Let's see. I'm trying to think who I would. Because I'm dumb and I think it would be an easy fight for him to win. I think, and if King Seal hears this, he's gonna ream me for it. Why not Poirier versus Satoru Kitaoka?
You really like torturing Kitaoka, don't you?
Hey, he was on a winning streak for quite a long time, and he just lost recently. But I don't know. I think that's an interesting fight stylistically.
It could be. I mean, Poirier is not great with submission, so.
Well, Blugar is a different. Kitaoka is the easy guy to figure out. He kind of has one MO, and if you know how to defend against that, you can pretty much beat him.
Right, but that one dimension is like Imanari. It's incredibly
Yeah.
dangerous.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Yeah. We have a question from Falling Star, and he says, "I have this cool idea. Rizin should buy Breaking Down user Ultimate Fighter, keep the reality TV form and Kirkus keep it popular, just do real amateurs." I don't know if they can buy Breaking Down because Breaking Down is way too popular. I would even argue it's more popular than Rizin.
It is. It
Yeah.
is, and probably makes more money too.
Yeah. Um, they're definitely going to be using it as a way to scout fighters.
Yeah, I
Rizin
mean,
will.
keep them separate and just it's a pipeline. So
Yeah.
and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Though they should at least have like a little bit of a ceiling for like who
Right,
they book.
right, but there are legit fighters who are going there just to get a boost in popularity.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, speaking of Imanari, let's go on to co-main Mazakatsu Imanari. Did he break Mijima's arm or like dislocate? Because I heard him scream. Did you hear the scream?
I did. I saw Majima favoring his arm too, like it was broke. The way he was reacting, something happened.
And it was wrapped up at the post fighter. So yeah. Listen, this fight was how many weeks notice? Maybe 2 weeks, a week notice
So
officially.
something like that, roughly.
Yeah.
It is a hell of a win.
This might be even Ari's best win in maybe like the last decade in MMA.
I think besides doing something in Dream, probably.
I'm looking at it, so it's mostly grappling he's done. One Il Quan.
Who did he fight in?
That's gets kind of a big win. Let's see. 10 like okay, like maybe
20,
the last 5 years. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, that's cool. But yeah, this is probably his biggest win since I'm gonna say Dream.
Yeah, I know. Like
Like
I could not believe it. So it's actually funny that like I thought I had this fight spoiled for me because I was on YouTube and I saw the thing pop up between the post fighter and Majima was smiling and Imanari wasn't. So I was like, oh god, I just spoiled it for myself. And then I just realized, oh, that's just both their personalities. Yeah, I mean, I am happy that Imanari has come in here and fucked up the entire featherweight division and has ruined plans because I think they were going to do Majima, the winner of Vugar, Majima versus maybe Kleber, and then that person faces winner of Kanehara Chihiro. I mean, man, like also here. Actually, I want to ask as well. Do you think the referee could have stopped the fight with all those elbows in the second round, right before the elbow?
yeah, I do.
The armbar.
Absolutely, but he didn't, and to him because he gave Imanari a chance, and Imanari got the armbar.
Yeah, yeah, and actually, the first round he could have had that heel hook in for like if it was just like a few more seconds, he could have had that in.
Yeah. I thought Majima was winning the fight, but I also playing too much into Imanari's hands, and clearly that happened in the end.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so I mean, Imanari when he said, what he wants next, he says, if Rizin has any problems, please call me. So, but like, he deserves another fight. Whether he, is interested, I think that's a different story. But I mean, let's assume that he is. Who would you put him up against next?
Wow, that's an interesting.
Well, because here's the thing, I was going to suggest when Vugar, when he gets out of jail, do Vugar versus Imanari since they're going to do Majima versus.
I'm saying that, but I think Vugar kicks his ass. Although
you never know, man. Listen, I thought that Tofik was going to maul Satoshi, and that didn't happen. People doubted Imanari in this fight, and he won. He won, and listen, Vugar would obviously win on the feet, but listen, man, once it gets down to the ground, listen, you're talking about. Look at all those submission wins by heel hook, Achilles lock, heel hook, arm bar. That's the other thing. It was an arm bar. That's not usually a thing that Imanari goes toe hold. You never know. That's the thing. You make one mistake with Imanari at 48, it doesn't matter how what age or experience or how strong Vugar is. You can be fucked.
Yeah, and there's an old adage in boxing. Great old fighters have something along the lines of they have one great performance left in them. This might have been Imanari's. This was awesome.
Yeah. So Kobe Day has an interesting one. Ota bantamweight. So that's my thing. Imanari has fought at lightweight. Sorry.
No, I thought okay, yeah, Ota is a bantamweight, so in theory,
Yes, but Imanari has fought at lightweight. He took this fight at featherweight, and he has fought at bantamweight before. He was in the bantamweight Grand Prix. Remember that they had 2 or 3 years ago. So he can do bantamweight. Um, isn't Oda fighting somebody next? I thought he was.
I don't think Ota has a fight yet.
I still like to see him and Naoki anyway.
Yeah, I would too. Naoki's
Actually,
got Shoko Sato, so maybe after that you could
yeah,
think about
I
maybe
would.
Imanari against Ota next, or is that too bad of a style match for Ota?
I think that's a bad. I mean, he got submitted by Tokoro. So listen, if you're getting submitted by Tokoro, I don't see the same outcome doesn't happen with Imanari. But that's the other thing is that he can do bantamweight or featherweight. Listen, I have no problem with him being a featherweight, even though like he's clearly an undersized featherweight. I still want to see that Vugar match. I think that Vugar match is like I think that's like could be like an exciting fight.
It would because it would test Vugar.
Or Imanari versus Clever.
That's an idea.
Because you know that neither of them are going to strike.
Oh, I got one. How about Imanari versus Hiroaki Suzuki?
Oh, that's interesting. That is interesting. Boy, but that is a dangerous fight for Imanari though. That is really a dangerous fight.
It is.
I mean, yeah, you got so many possibilities and you got so many interesting matchups with him. And it's listen, if he gets like 2 or 3 more wins, and title shot, yeah, title shot. I'm sorry, but yeah, this is 2024 is even the year of Imanari. Majima Kobe said Majima displays an 80 fight IQ. Listen, I'll say this in fairness. Listen, the elbows were working, and he just, I'm not going to hold it against him that he's elbowing him and elbowing that he gets right. Sorry, go ahead.
Got caught. It happens.
Yes. So when Majima gets all healed up, what would you do with him next, Mike?
That's a good question. How about have him fight the lose? Have him. You know what? Have him fight. No, he already lost to Claver. Never mind. I'd have to think on that because I honestly, no one's popping up off the top of
my head. Okay, well, easy one that would get him an easy win. Him versus Dominator Yamasu. Easy win for Majima.
I know he's coming off a win. Have him fight Suguru Ni.
See, the only problem is that I feel like Suguru Ni is on track to be. He's next for title contention. He's getting close because he's on a streak. He's Pancras, whatever champion. So yeah, I think. I think that's an easy win for Ni, in my opinion. But they're both submission guys. That's the other thing. They're both submission guys, which is interesting. But I think Ni knocks out Majima.
Probably. Like I said, I'm just trying to think of that was the first one that came to mind.
Yeah. Oh, the other thing I was going to bring up. Go ahead.
A lot of them are occupied right now.
Yeah. The other thing is that the camera barely caught up for a second, but Imanari was like doing like when he got the trophy with the champagne thing, he was like pretending it was like his dick and like swinging it. I wish I caught that on camera. I really wish I did. The whole thing. A la Jake the Snake Roberts at Heroes of Wrestling.
Oh Jesus.
Let's see, and we're gonna move on to a fight that was pretty much a squash match. Yachi puts Dark to sleep. Yeah. Interesting though is that from this fight, it's clear that Yachi does not like to be, I guess, bullied to the cage or like forced to the cage, or that like if he is no longer a guy who wants to get into a brawl anymore. He does not like getting hit anymore. He's much more tactful, a much more tactful fighter.
He's much more cautious.
Much more
He's
caution. Focus fights.
saying,
That's Jake Chris's
right?
things. Make sure to give him a
Yeah.
follow on YouTube. I'm sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I pretty much with this fight is, Yachi did what he had to do. Shirakawa was too small.
Yeah. Also, the grappling
Right.
was going to be all in his favor.
Yeah.
But
was.
it's
I
funny
don't think
though.
there's much.
It's funny if he was able to nullify the grappling, I think he could have. I think Dark could have possibly won on the feet. I honestly think. I honestly think that.
I thought Dark was winning on the feet, actually.
Yeah.
But like I said, just too small.
Yeah. Yachi said in a post-fight interview that he wants to start facing foreigners now. Also, interesting enough, he's no longer listed with Crazy B. He's listed as freelance.
So he
I
must
thought
have.
I thought he was still like affiliated with Crazy B, but I guess now he's now freelance. I don't know when that exactly happened. Was that Yachi 2.0? That I honestly don't know, but I just thought that was interesting.
Maybe 1905 at this point. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. So here's the thing, though. Yachi has gotten wins over people that are, I want to say, are mid. That are not the best fighters. Zach Zane, Boyd Allen, Shirakawa. So I mean, the Kim fight would have been good because we'll see him against like legitimate competition. But yeah, I mean, like, do you try to run that fight back?
I do. I mean, could Yachi make featherweight?
No, not anymore. Not at that. Not now. He's a big boy now.
Yeah. Maybe you put him. Maybe he moves up to welterweight.
No, you'll get mauled by
Abe.
You'll get mauled by Abe. Yeah, and Fat Ninja. Absolutely, yeah, I think so.
Gotcha. Yeah, because he looks really big for a lightweight too. So not.
Yeah.
I mean, looking for on the corner.
I hate this. Well, what about him versus Poirier?
What?
Him versus Poirier.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that that'd be an interesting fight too, but it could also be really boring. Two counter punchers.
Yep, I know. Barra said that he wants to send Yachi overseas. Do you mean the train, or do you mean like he want? Is this the whole thing where like Kai Kyoji to UFC? Because I'm gonna tell you right now, Yachi's not getting into UFC if that is what Barra is talking about. Kobe Day.
He's not a UFC caliber fighter at this point in his
No,
career.
he's not. No, he's not. I think he gets beaten by even like whoever's like number 20 in lightweight in UFC. I honestly do.
More of like a special. He's like a name. He's a special attraction. You got to match him carefully.
Yeah. Yeah. The Poirier fight, I'm not opposed to. I'm trying to think right now. Oh, actually, now that I think about it, I know we said Poirier versus O'Hara. I think that Yachi and O'Hara deserve a rematch from their last fight because that was a very good fight.
Yeah, it was. I could see that. We'll see if they book it. But it seems O'Hara's more interested in working with Black Combat than he is with.
Well, because Black Combat pays good fucking money. I think Oshima said that in an interview that taking that because when it's Black Combat hosting the show, the thing, that guy pays like overpays, like, which I'm not opposed to. That's totally fine. But yeah, there's a reason why a lot when people will jump at the chance to be deep representatives of deep for Black Combat. Dark Shirakawa, he'll be back because he's Mikaru's friend. That's a given. Well, obviously, no more lightweight for him, Mr. Dark. But what about the featherweight? Do you have anybody that you think would be good for him? Majima, maybe?
Would you put him in with Majima?
I'm not opposed to that, but I think Majima wins that. He should win that.
Agreed. But it's
sorry, go ahead.
Loss.
What, sorry?
It's two guys coming off a loss.
Yeah. Problem is, though, that Dark is not really a good fighter. He has good finishes, and he's beating people that are like Kotetsu Boku.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, he is like as a quality fighter, he is not that good. He's got personality. He's actually got good personality, and I think he speaks English as well, pretty well.
Oh, I was gonna say, Imanari, why not do Yoshiki Nakahara?
Didn't Nakahara get knocked out in the last fight, or am I
No,
incorrect?
he won. He beat Dark Shirakawa, actually.
Oh yeah, that fight really sucked. No, I'm not interested in Nakahara anymore. That fight was terrible. Uh, I guess from a booking perspective, I see nothing wrong with that. But from an entertainment perspective, I am off the Nakahara train. Honestly, for shit, I would almost say for shits and giggles, I would have loved it. Well, after if you were to win against Takeda, I would have loved to see Joey Hagiwara versus Imanari. I don't know why. It would just be so funny. There's something that matches with him. But sorry to go off track. Dark Shirakawa, I think, yeah, yeah, he's a limited fighter. He's gonna lose more than he wins more, and but yeah, it's whatever.
You got to match him carefully.
Yeah, yeah. You gotta match him carefully because I think most legitimate fighters do beat him. In every way. Now this fight we're gonna talk about. Hopefully, Chuck, you're still in here. Sorry, Oshima taking Claire Lopez's arm. This fight was great, and honestly, Lopez was doing everything correct at first.
She was.
But man, listen, Oshima, she is that ground game is fucking great of hers. It's so it's just so seamless. Everything she does.
Yeah, the way she got reversed and then just put that armbar on out of nowhere and as quickly as it was, awesome.
Yeah, no, I didn't even know she had it on like until Lopez tapped.
Yeah, that was a really good fight. A lot of reversals. Oshima to me looked really undersized.
Oh, good. That is what she's gonna be undersized for everything besides microweight at this point. So, but listen, she's so successful most of the time that like you know what, just fucking stick with it.
Oh yeah. Seiki Izawa should be next.
Well, maybe not. Yeah. Well, Izawa has the she's defending I think she's defending the deep championship against the one who just beat Oshima, I think, if I'm correct.
Okay. Yeah, from Black is it in Black Combat again, or is it?
Yeah, Black Combat. Yeah, listen. All I know is that there's something going on with that fight that's preventing it from happening. I hear different things. I don't know which is true, but there's a reason that that there's some sort of weird ass politics that are happening. That fight's not happening.
Yeah. Rizin, where that should be a no-brainer.
Yeah, but here's a good thing. Now that Lopez is lost, you can still do the match with her and Hamazaki.
Yeah, you can. That would make sense. Or maybe a Claire Lopez Rena rematch if Rena wins next month.
Oh yeah, I forgot Reina's fighting next month. Yeah. Well, here's the thing also as well. Hamazaki broke her arm again apparently, or tore a muscle. So, but like, I'm not opposed to that because again, they're both on losses. The Reina fight, I wouldn't be interested in. I would still like to see Reina Izawa at some point, if possible.
In a ring. I just don't think Reina fights well in a cage.
Yeah, no, she doesn't. Izawa, okay. Chuck says Izawa's challenging for the Deep Jewels Atomweight Town, which you own. Oh yeah, I forgot. Oshima had the title. She lost it to her, and now she's challenging for it. Okay, so take that for what it's worth. That she's challenging it after Oshima loses it. So yeah. No, I'm not like if I would only. I'm not. I don't know. I'm not so interested in the Lopez Reina rematch at this point. Hamazaki and Lopez, I think, is much more interesting because I want to see because it's a fight that I think Lopez could win, and I think it's a fight that Hamazaki could win as well, depending on how she is.
Yeah. The question becomes: is this going to be like for not to change the subject, but a comparison would be CM Punk? Is there something where Ayaka Hamasaki's body just can't handle it anymore?
That's entirely possible. Yeah, we'll have to see if she has another fight booked, and then she gets injured again. Then clearly her body's breaking down, or if the fight goes through and she looks absolute dog shit, then it's possible that that's why, because her body's just failing, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It wasn't. She's been fighting for a long time. She's lost strawweight. She's done tournaments. She's traveled. So yeah, unfortunately, not surprised that the body is would be doing that. Is breaking down on her if that's what's happening.
And also the very, very hard training that the Japanese tend to do.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's also very true as well. We're gonna move on next. Hiroaki Suzuki, ground and pound Takahiro Ishida, and I think it's kind of just went the way we thought. That Ishida was gonna try to grapple, and Suzuki was not gonna fall for that shit.
Yeah, not that. Like I think we mentioned in the preview that Ishida, while a decent grappler, is not on the level of some of the other guys at the Brave Gym, and
yeah,
saw that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, yes. Listen, I think Suzuki's finished all of his fights in Rizin.
Yes, and this is a good solid win to see where he was at in his MMA career at this point, and to me he's a legit contender at 145.
And he called out Yaman after the fight. I'm assuming it was for MMA. I'm not kickboxing.
Yeah, if I'm Yaman, I don't do that.
That's a bigger fight for Suzuki than it is for Yaman, and I mean, yeah, MMA or kickboxing, nah, I'm not a fan of that.
No, I'm not either. Suzuki looked great. His submission defense was very good too. Not surprising coming from Banzai, and his striking and his ground and pound was really effective. Like his build gives him, like, I think, for lack of a better term, built-in ground and pound.
Yeah. What was it that I think Charlie CJ from Sogokaku told me that he's big for a featherweight. Like
he's huge.
Yeah. By the way, came out with the J-pop bands.
Mm-hmm. I think
why was he deserving of J-pop entrance?
It wasn't bad. I liked it.
Like, but I mean, like, why of all people did he get it? I mean, I just don't see is there some sort of connection?
Maybe, who knows?
It was just so strange because, like, I just personality wise, and unless, like, I don't know, he's dating one of them or something, I just didn't see, like, so he gets a J-popper? He gets a J-pop band? I thought that was like really caught me off guard.
I mean, there's not much to say about this. I mean,
yeah.
Hiroaki Suzuki looked awesome, and Ishida, at this point, I just don't think is a rising. He's just a gatekeeper.
Oh no, I was gonna say Ishida is the perfect gatekeeper. He will win some and he will lose some. Would you book him again though? Yeah.
Yeah, I would. I just book him with an up and coming prospect. I would book him with the loser of Taisei Nishitani, Ryo Takagi.
Oh yes, that one's coming up as well. Yeah. The only thing though is that Ryo Takagi and maybe Nishitani are both strikers. That may not work out well for him. But it's funny. Ishida does tend to beat the younger guys. Like he beat Nakata, Hirotaka, and he beat
Hagiwara.
Oh, yes, and Hagiwara as well. So yeah, he does lose against the younger guys, surprisingly.
Yeah, so that's what a gatekeeper does. They separate the contenders from the pretenders.
I like that, contenders from pretenders. Speaking of contenders, Daichi Abe sends Kota Osman to the Shadow Realm. Oh, yeah. Pretty much what we predicted, right?
Oh, absolutely. Osman looked like really slow and one-dimensional. Like he looks stiffer than the Tin Man, for God's sake.
It's no technique, just power. It wasn't you could tell that those power shots from Osman could definitely knock out somebody, but like it was so easy to avoid.
Oh, absolutely. And Abe did a really nice job of, if I remember correctly, he just took a step back, counter right hand, boom, over.
Yep.
And just textbook. Abe looked good. He's back. He did what he had to do. Hopefully, they can find some legitimate welterweights to build the division.
Yeah. Well, listen, I know that Damian Brown keeps wanting to say that he wants back. He said that he can't do lightweight anymore, and he did say he could do welterweight. So listen,
I would be opposed to it.
Yeah, not opposed to that. at all. Yeah, that's the only one I can think of, quite honestly. I can Matt Riddle did say he wants to go back to MMA. I don't know if like could he make 170 at this point, do you think?
Would Rizin even book him?
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah, I mean, like former UFC guy. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. WWE wrestler, now New Japan wrestler. Absolutely. Yeah. Just yeah, that would get a lot of attention to them.
It would, and you know what? Hell, why not? Why not book Nick Nemeth at this point?
Yeah, maybe. Oh, they're like, Nick Nemeth on a Rizin show. That'd be something else. Apparently, the most interesting thing about Osman was that apparently he has that name because he says Ocelot. That's what they said on commentary.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
but does Osman come back?
If he wins a couple in Pancrase, why not?
Which could be yes or no. There's no guarantee of him. Yeah.
Very true.
What's his record now? His record's now 6-4-5, I
It's
think.
4-5, I think.
Okay. And they're all finishes, if I'm correct. He either gets finished or he finishes, I believe.
If you want to put him for like an undercard of a landmark show, and if you find some new welterweights to build up, why not? He brings it.
Yeah. I mean, also Fat Ninja has said that he wants a welterweight division to come back. I mean, the only name I can think of, I mean, Ninja beat him. Abe versus Anzai. I don't know. Is that interesting at all?
Not really, but to see if Abe's worked on his wrestling on-site, Shinsho on-site would be a good litmus test, I think. Are there any like former Bellator fighters that they could bring in?
I don't know who's cut from Bellator though. Who they released from contract without knowing exactly what the nature of the relationship, if they can. Yeah, I don't know, like if that's at all possible. Well, when we see this year, if anything happens, we're like, if any Bellator fighters go to Rizin, then we can make a better we can like, oh, okay, then I don't know who's a 170 or so Tokov is it Amazon can do what can do Rizin at 170 at one point because they sense somebody else.
I mean, they're going to try to build the division around Abe, but he's a decent fighter, but he's not great by any stretch.
Yeah.
So.
Oh no, not at all. Hamza Mir says PFL signed all the Bellator fighters. They did get rid of a lot though. I know that they definitely cut a lot. I don't know who they did off the top of my head, but they did cut a few. And he actually has another question as well. Why don't Rizin have heavyweights like they did 6 or 7 years ago? Oh, Mr. Mir. Money, yes.
Money, and because probably they want to focus on a domestic product.
Yes. So the thing is that, and I think it would have happened eventually, but the pandemic really affected Rizin financially. They even had to do like the Japanese GoFundMe to kind of keep afloat.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, they didn't run when the pandemic hit. They didn't run events for 6 months?
Until August, I think it was, right? Was it August? I think they had their first show.
2020 with the Rizin 22 and 23, I think it was, at whatever that venue was, and yeah, they didn't run events for 6 months.
The other issue is that Barra has kind of implied it a little bit, but the problem is that so you're gonna find all these fighters from wherever. UFC is gonna come in. They're gonna see these fighters getting wins and Rizin, and then they're just gonna take them away.
Yeah,
it's kind of the idea that why bother trying to find fighters that you know are going to leave eventually?
Yeah, basically, you don't want Rizin to come off as a feeder organization for UFC.
That wouldn't happen, 6-7 years ago until the pandemic when Jiri left, Cape left. I don't know when Kai Car France left, but he left sometime. Welcome back, Mike. I don't know where you went, but I just saw you disappear.
I don't know what happened.
Kai Car France also left as well.
I thought he once and he lost and then left.
Oh yeah, he also missed weight as well, so that didn't help as well. Kron Gracie, don't forget Kron Gracie as well. So yeah, a bunch of these guys, they just all went to the UFC during the pandemic. Also, what's going to affect Rizin now is the recession Japan is in, and supposedly as well. And I've heard this from secondhand sources that it's much more difficult to get a visa for an international visa for work in Japan for some reason. And a bunch of fights last year had to be canceled because supposedly Todd Duffy lost his thing. I don't know his passport. I don't know if that's true. Spike Carlisle had issues as well getting into Japan as well, but he had to use an alternate visa that he had. Apparently, he has dual citizenship for another country. And there was another fighter as well who had was it Johnny Case? I think Johnny Case also had a visa issue, or was that's what he said.
I don't remember.
Yeah, so it basically comes down to money, keeping talent, and visa difficulties now. And class action lawsuit would make UFC a $20 million company. Well, hopefully it will. They can invest in middleweight and light. Yeah, possibly. Yeah, they didn't have these issues in the past. It used to be so much easier as to get foreign get a foreign work permit or whatever it is in Japan. Post pandemic, that became much more difficult for whatever reason. I honestly don't know why it happened. That's something. Well, maybe I could ask CJ that when I talk to him sometime. But yes, so we agree. Kota Osman coming back? No, just kidding. Don't care. Yeah, go back to Pancras, good sir. Now this fight though was awesome, and I knew it was going to go exactly the way we thought. Where Shohei Noze absolutely obliterated Kenta Takizawa.
Yes, he did, and looked awesome. Looked like a star.
Yeah. King Stilo from the Discord said that he thinks that also Noze could make flyweights. Do you think that's possible? I think he can.
I think he can. He looked a little small to me for
battle. Oh, he was definitely small. He was definitely small.
And when I said that this was I had a bone to pick with one of the refs, this was the fight.
I thought. Explain that. Can you explain that to me? I'm trying to recall, but I don't recall.
Takizawa got hit with like a ton of elbows. It could have been stopped.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. It could have been stopped at least 15, 20 seconds earlier.
So I see what you're saying. I'm always reminded of the Uriah Faber Renan Barão fight. Do you remember that fight?
I vaguely do because it's been so
long. He knocked down Faber. He does a waist lock. He holds him by a waist lock and is just doing like these hammer fist punches. But Faber is holding his arm right there, and so he's basically just hitting his arm. And he gave the thumbs up to the ref that he's okay. I think it was Herb Dean. That was like one of the big mistakes that Herb Dean made. And yeah, Herb Dean waited off, even though it was clear that these things were not
affecting him.
Yeah, I can see what you were saying. I think at first Takizawa was moving and he was blocking them.
Eventually, after a while, he wasn't. He was just taking these hard elbows.
Yeah, I think eventually the volume became too much, and it was just going to be elbowing him until the end of the round. I think that's when the referee realized, okay, I need to stop it now. But Takizawa was moving for a bit, and he was blocking, but eventually some of those elbows got in, and once they get in, and once they start, the volume becomes more. That's more than the actual impact.
See, I thought they were having a bunch of impact. That's why.
Okay, I'll have to rewatch that. I'll have to because I thought he was moving, which is responding correctly.
At first he was, but after a while, there was just elbow after elbow after elbow. I thought it could have been stopped way earlier than it was.
Okay, but I mean, listen, I think I have to agree with you. Noze is a star. I hope he's not just relegated to Fukuoka shows because that would be a.
You got something with him. You build him up and use him properly.
Yeah. Listen, I think the next fight he should face is Joji Goto. That's immediately what came to mind.
Yeah, I agree. And have it essentially be a number one contenders match. I think you can fast track those two for a title shot. I really do.
Yeah, I would have no problem with that, especially with Noze's I don't know if he's Shuto champion. I forgot what I think he has a championship somewhere.
Maybe Pacific Rim.
Was it Pacific Rim? Let me see. I thought he was Shuto Bantamweight champion or was Bantamweight champion.
Not 100% sure on that, but I absolutely think that he's a potential star.
Yeah, no, he's great. Big, I know this one fight. Someone said he had crazy eyes when he came out.
Yeah.
I see what they meant. Yeah, Nose, whatever you want to call him. Yes, fast track him. Him versus Joji Goto, perfect fight to make. Takizawa, is he gatekeeper for 135 at this point?
I think so. Yeah, just one, his ground game just hasn't evolved to where, or his takedown defense just hasn't evolved to where it needs to be.
Yeah, the other issue is that he can still knock people out. He's still good at knocking out people.
Absolutely. It's just the other parts of his game are just severely lacking. They're not good enough.
Yeah. No, he's a one-dimensional fighter. I know that King Steel hates his personality as well. He hates his stupid dancing thing. Yeah, well, listen, here's the thing. I think he's gonna be back though. I think they're gonna bring him back. I don't know what you do with him next.
Give him an easier fight for one thing. That's not put him in with a striker for one thing.
Yeah, listen, I don't know if Rizin's going to plan to use Trent Girdham again. I think that'd be a fine fight because I think both are on losing streaks, if I'm correct.
Yeah, so 3 or 4 fights each. Takizawa's lost 4 in a row, and I think Girdham's lost his last 3.
Did he return back from that injury? Remember he had that injury in the kickboxing fight?
Yeah, he lost to Joji Goto.
Oh, he just fought last month against in UAE. I didn't even know that.
Interesting.
Illegal strikes. Does UAE? I didn't know UAE. I thought the UAE didn't do unified. Well, maybe the back of the head. Maybe I don't know.
Let's see how to win.
I think that's a fair fight. I think that's a fine fight to make between him and Takizawa if they bring Takizawa back. Hamza's asked, do they still have big crowds? Because when Bellator came there 8 months ago, they had a big crowd. Oh yeah, no, they still draw. The show wasn't sold out though. I can definitely tell you it was definitely not sold out. I don't know what it was that they got it.
It looked like 6,000-7,000 seats were sold. That was my estimate. I could be wrong on that.
I'm not going to try to estimate because I can't tell because the picture quality was too awful to actually see the back.
It looked like a good crowd though.
No, they got a pretty sizable crowd. What was it for New Year's Eve? Did they get
23? I think it's 23,000.
Yeah. So they still draw. They still absolutely still draw. And yes, some Arab sheik should come in and invest in Rizin. If we start to see a lot of Arab fighters and Middle Eastern fighters in Rizin, we might start. Maybe that's the hint that somebody else is investing money. Oh, by the way, as well, just want to mention that 22 unnecessary intermission, 22-minute unnecessary intermission. But before that, they had Yuki Matoya. Himabara said that they're going to be working with the Red Cross to do some like donations or something for the Noto Peninsula earthquake, which is really cool.
Yeah.
UFC would never do that. They wouldn't come into the cage and say, "Hey, we're going to donate to wherever."
Good on Rizin for doing that, and I just wish all those people the best.
Yeah, I didn't even know he was from the Noto. I knew he was from Inaka, but I didn't know he was from the Noto Peninsula.
Yeah, it's horrible what happened.
Yeah. So if they now have a streaming service or the Hamza, so you can see their shows. They also go on the YouTube channel. They should be uploading, I'm going to guess, fights from this show eventually.
Yeah, next week or so. They usually do it that way. Although I would think maybe a couple when the pay-per-view window closes.
I don't know. I'm curious to know about that. Yeah, we'll have to see whether the pay-per-view closes and they do the YouTube or before then. I don't know. But yeah, definitely check out. They uploaded some of their shows, fights from the New Year's Eve show, Hamza. So you can definitely check those out right now. And we're gonna go on to the final fight. I can find my fucking thing here.
I forgot this, but for Yachi, why not put him in with Patrick Usami?
Didn't they fight? Or were they supposed to fight?
They might have. They might have been booked to fight at one point, but they never fought. So why not do that?
I think that's a bad fight for Yachi. I think he gets knocked out easily. I think so. Yeah, I really do.
Interesting.
Actually, here's the thing. Knowing Rizin, I would not be surprised if they booked like Anpo and Yachi in a boxing match for like New Year's Eve. I feel like that's something that they would do up their wheelhouse.
Yeah, they would. They or put Hagiwara against Ampo in kickboxing.
That'd be funny. That would be funny, and I would laugh in entertainment. Yuki Ito now a victory against Ueda. He was pretty close to losing this fight though. Ito he did that really cool judo throw or whatever that was like in the match. That was probably like his most notable thing. But oh man, Ito's run and rise has been wishy washy. Unfortunately, I thought it'd be a lot better.
It's been up and down. It really has. I thought this fight was really boring. I thought Ito did what he needed to do to win, but that's about all you can say about it.
Yeah. He's got, let's see, yeah, he knocked out Nakamura, he knocked out Miyagi, and then yeah, he had these three. Oh, and he also Moto. I forgot about that. And then he had these three fights. Yeah, no, he did what he had to do to win. And oh well, listen, he almost lost this. Like if he continued like fucking up and not like defending the takedowns and getting mounted, he was gonna lose his fights. Yeah, man. I don't know what's happening with him. I had high hopes for him, and he's kind of been disappointing in his recent Rizin run. I mean, the fight with Hiroya was great, but he almost lost it as well.
Yeah, and then looking back on it, it's more Hiroya being really exciting and dragging it out of Ito. Fights with this one and the one with Topnoi were horrible.
Would you do an Ito? Would you rematch him with Hiroya, or I was also thinking against maybe him versus Joe Arai?
I would book him in a rematch with Hiroya, and I would book Joe Arai with the loser, or I would book Joe Arai with Yusaku Nakamura if he loses to that Kazakh next month.
He should, yeah. Ueda. Bring it back or no?
As a gatekeeper, sure, why not? He adds depth to 125. You can certainly do worse.
If you want to do a fight, I'd be curious to see him versus Ursan. I'm still.
Ursan's got a fight next month too against Yuya Monkey Shibata.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Oh, thank you. I totally forgot about that. Well, in that case, I don't know. I don't know about Ueda. Go back to Pancras. Win a few there. And then
maybe have him fight Joe Arai.
I kind of like that because it's Pancras versus Shudo. Kind of think about it. Yeah. Okay, I'm not opposed to that. But I feel like Ueda's going to be, he's a Fukuoka guy. He's going to be relegated to only Fukuoka shows.
Right. I mean, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. So before we go, Mike, just wanted to ask as well, did you have any fight of the night and 2 finishes of the night, good sir?
Fight of the night, I thought was, I actually have 2.
Okay.
I thought it was Poirier and Gustavo, and then Oshima against Lopez.
Nice.
And then 2 finishes of the night was, can you go down for a sec? I cannot pronounce these names to save my damn life. But Takumi Terada,
yep,
and then Reito Bravely knocking out Furumura. Those were my 2 finishes.
Wow, okay. So we're both in agreement. Oshima, Lopez, fight of night. That's my pick because that fight was so awesome. And then finishes, listen, Imanari getting a submission win. I gotta go with that, man. I gotta go with that shit.
Fair enough. I love knockouts.
And then I'm gonna say Nose elbow stoppage to Takizawa. So I mean, overall good card. I think a good start to 2024. Hopefully, Rizin TV fixes its shit for next month. Got some time, Rizin tech people. So please do that.
And also, I was going to say next month's card in Kobe is excellent.
Yeah, that one's going to be. I don't know when we're going to preview for that. Hopefully the card doesn't change that much. though. Hopefully,
Right. Talked about adding. Takibara talked about adding 1 or 2 fights.
Oh, we did. Oh, that was for April. I thought that was for the April show.
No, he talked about adding 1 or 2 fights for the Kobe card and then announcing the undercard for Rizin 46 at Ariake Arena sometime in early March, I think it was.
Oh, okay, that's the one in April, right? The Ariake. No, that's not. That's in May. I thought he said something about April.
It's April 29th, I think. Or 26th. I think it was changed.
Oh, they changed. Oh, okay.
It's on the Rizin site itself, but Tabology looks like it hasn't been updated.
Wait, so hold on. So Kobe is not changed, you said, right?
No, Kobe has not changed. It's Rizin 46 that changed.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So they still have they still list Landmark 9 as well, because it was supposed to be 46, but then it still says in a ring.
It's not. It's in a cage.
Oh, that's what I thought. And they're gonna add 2 more fights. There's already 13 fights on this fucking card. I mean 12, 14, excuse me. 16. They're gonna have 19 fights. Are you oh my god, I hope not. Or 18 or not. I hope not. I really hope not.
No, there's 15 as of now.
Oh, there is?
I thought it was 3 opening, 12 main.
I'm looking at the thing here that says 12 MMA bouts and 4 kickboxing bouts.
Okay, then it's 16, but I must have counted wrong. But either way, Sakakibara talked about adding 1 or 2 more fights to the Kobe card.
Hamza asked, do they have English commentary?
Yes and no.
Yes.
Yes and no.
Yes and no. They have English commentary, but the quality of it is terrible. Not the commentators themselves, but because this commentary is all on Zoom. So it sounds like shit. It's out of sync sometimes, and the audio levels are all over the place. So the answer is yes, but it's not. Don't expect good quality commentary.
No. It's like you said, it's really hit and miss.
Yeah. They need a better social media team. I don't know. Their social media actually used to be really awful. Now they hired another guy named I forgot his name right now. Okay, Hassan, I think his name is. Oh no, Hafid. And he's actually gotten a lot better. They put a lot of stuff now.
It's pretty good with Rizin and the Rizin English Twitter feed. That's really good.
Yeah, it used to be not good, but it's gotten a lot better. So credit to them. And then Topology is all. They didn't update this in the Saga card till like a week ago. They still have like the old fights on there, and they didn't have like the updated fights.
I wasn't paying much attention to it. I don't, other than looking at the fighters' records, I don't really pay much attention.
I guess use SureDog for the most part, and Wikipedia. They are more accurate. Do you guys know how to watch Rizin here? Very easy. It's called Rizin.tv. I'll type it in for you. Rizin.tv.
Mm-hmm. And you just need to enter your email address, and then you'll get a passcode.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Megaton stopped doing. I forgot. Megaton was the one who did all the Japanese stuff. But yeah, Mike, where can people find you if you want them to find you?
Nowhere. No, kidding.
Fair enough.
Kidding. Just my email, msalt7@aol.com, and I'm on the Rizin or We Are Rizin Discord at Mike S. Finally changed the avatar. Actually have one now.
Which confused me because I couldn't find you because I was looking for the avatar, for the lack of avatar.
Yeah, Adel Kristen, the main hero from the Ease series.
Hamza, by the way, for prelims, they do air them on YouTube, or not even prelims. They usually air the first 4 or 5 fights free on YouTube. So keep that in mind. And they don't archive them. So if you miss them, then you won't be able to rewatch them. So for me, as I scroll up to try to find this shit. Well, first off, let me do my co-host, Chris Gary 92. You can follow him on Twitter/X. He also runs Focus Fights. You can find all the Focus Fights related stuff there. They have their own Twitter, YouTube channel, where they had a Rizin preview. And he's doing a lot of good stuff for on that end as well. Follow We Are Rizin Pod on Twitter and the Discord, where you can see us all complain about Rizin video and audio quality is Rizin FF. But thank you very much, everybody. We appreciate everybody who tuned in, and hopefully we'll see you next month for Kobe.
Later.